Welcome to reading class, second grade. Today we have another good story coming up. We're ready for lesson 8, and the title of our story is A God Who Answers. So you may open up your light units to lesson 8 and page 20, and we'll talk about the new words that you have today. So I have them written on the board here, and let's talk about them. Let's say them first. The first one says barrels. Number 2 is Egypt. Number 3, figa. Number 4, orphan. Number 5, orphanage. Number 6, ragged. Number 7, seaport. Number 8, trasher. Okay, so let's talk about these words, the definitions of these words. Which word is a family's last name? So which word do you think would be a family's last name on these words? Well, it looks to me like it would probably be trasher. Now, trasher is a last name just like Eichhorn or Miller or Knapp or Carpenter. Those are all last names, and yeah, so trasher is a last name. Now, which word is a girl's name? So which word do you think would be a girl's name? Well, names are usually capitalized, right? So it must be one of those capitalized words there. So we would say figa. I would say figa would be a girl's name. Which word names a country? Now you've had about countries and how they should be capitalized in recent language arts lessons. So Egypt is a country, and we live here in North America, and Egypt is pretty much on the opposite side of the world from what we are. It's in the continent of Africa, and so this green section right here is where Egypt is. Egypt is also where baby Moses, he was on the Nile River in Egypt. So some Bible stories have happened in Egypt also. And your story today is a true story. It actually did happen already. Okay, back to your words again. Which word names a child who has no living parents? So looking at your words in your book now, which one would you think is a child, a living child, but his parents died? So that is what we would call an orphan. An orphan is a child that both his mom and dad have died. And there's actually pretty many children in the world that have lost both of their parents. Often when there's a war, it kills a lot of people. And sometimes it leaves children living without parents. So that was a setting of this story today. There was a lot of orphans. And yeah, okay, let's go back to the words again. Which word names a place for orphans to live? So where do orphans live? Thinking of orphans now. Which word do you think would be the word that would name the place of orphans, where they live? So that would be an orphanage. An orphanage is where orphans live. Number 6, which word names something in which to store things? So if you're storing, thinking of storing things, which word do you think you would use for that? It looks like it would be barrels. And they have a picture there on page 20 in your workbook of barrels. And it's something that you store things in. Now we don't really use those as much as they used to. Usually years ago they used to use barrels more to store things in. Number 7, which word names a town close to the sea? Well, if you're thinking about a sea and you're thinking of a town right close to the sea, it would be a seaport. Number 8, which word describes a way clothes can look? So clothes can look new, or what would be the opposite of new? They can also look ragged. Like if they're almost wore out, then they would be looking ragged. So, okay, and if you're not sure what they mean, you can always look them up in the dictionary, back in your glossary in the back of your book, and it will tell you the meaning there. All right, now for introducing the story, you can open up your readers. You have your readers with you there. You may open your readers up, and we have to page 289. Let's think about your Bible verse here. It says, "He shall call upon me, and I will answer him." Psalm 91:15. Okay, so that is your Bible verse for this week. And now looking into your story for today, it says a God who answers prayer. It's a true story. So true stories are for sure interesting to listen to. So the first paragraph of the story tells us the name of the main character. Who is she? And so the main character, remember we talked about that name of the girl, so it would be Figa. Look in the second paragraph to find out where Figa lived. So if you look in your second paragraph, you can find out where Figa lived, which would have been in Egypt. And so 450 girls lived in an orphanage in far-off Egypt. They didn't have mothers or fathers. Mother Trasher was the head of the orphanage. She was running out of money to buy food and clothes. Each day, the girls got less and less to eat. What do you think happened when they ran out of food? How do you think God answered their prayers? So you can go ahead and read your story to find out if what happened when they ran out of food. That would be pretty serious if you actually run out of food. You know, what would we do if we just wouldn't have anything to eat anymore? And there was, if you think about how many people, it was like 450 children that they had to feed. So that would take quite a bit of food. So that was a serious problem. And how do you think God answered their prayers? So you can read the story and find out how you think. Okay, so then you can go ahead with your lesson then for today. Follow your directions. And yeah, don't forget to read the Bible verse to yourself 3 times. And you can have a good afternoon.